Welcome back. I, 24 female, have been married to my husband, 26, for a little over a year. We met at a coffee shop, and he struck up a conversation with me because we were both stuck in a long line. In that queue, we learned that we have so much in common. After that, we exchanged contacts and got to know each other even more. Our relationship moved at a very fast pace. After just a few dates, he asked me to be his girlfriend. And a year later, we were married. My husband has always been the funny and kind yet reserved type. That's another thing that attracted me to him. He made me laugh and feel protected at the same time. It is said that people change when they get married, but he stayed the same. I never hesitated being with him or following his directions. That is, until he took me to his work function 6 months ago. The function was attended by many of his colleagues. Some of them I had met, and some I hadn't, including his boss. I was instantly drawn to him, my husband's boss. He had a very strong and alluring presence. Although he was much older, he was very engaging and charismatic, not to mention handsome for his age. When my husband introduced us, there was something about him that made me question if my decision to marry was too hasty. After that, I needed to know more about him. I wanted to be around him. I came up with this crazy and stupid idea of bringing my husband homemade lunch so I could have a sneak peek at his boss. I had time on my hands to do so because as soon as I got married, I quit my job and opted to be a stay-at-home wife. That has been something that I've always wanted, to stay home and take care of my family. My husband is a traditional man and supported my decision to be a housewife. My husband loved the homemade lunches, as I would experiment with something new every day thanks to the cooking shows I watched. One day, I met my husband's boss on the elevator. We had small talk, and I told him about the purpose of my visit and told him. I offered him a taste of the side dish, and when he turned me down, I offered him the entire side dish. He complimented on how good it was and how lucky my husband was to have me. I made me feel giddy. After that, we coincidentally met more often, and our banter became more flirtatious. I would make 2 lunches, one for my husband and one for him. He became closer to my husband, therefore we became closer to each other. We escalated from flirting to a full-blown affair. I would drop off my husband's homemade lunch as usual, and after lunchtime, his boss would come over to my place. It wasn't just sex. We would talk about everything in our lives and how terrible his wife was, how he wished he had someone like me by his side. We have a very deep relationship. Yesterday, his wife approached as I was on my way to give my husband his lunch. She told me that she knew about the affair and warned me to stay away from her husband. I was sick and tired of her talking down at me and calling me all kinds of slut, so I told her that her husband was sick of her and was planning to leave her for me. I told her about how unhappy he said she made him and flipped and started to cause a scene. She basically exposed my affair with my husband's boss while physically attacking me. By the time security managed to separate us, the rumor had reached my husband. My husband tried to pull me aside and defend me and my reputation, but I was driven by rage and wanted that woman to be in pain, so I realized I no longer had feelings for my husband. So I admitted to the affair and demanded a divorce in front of my husband, his boss, and his colleagues. I was so enraged and tired of pretending that he was the man I wanted to be with. My husband was left stunned, and when his boss tried to say something to him, he socked him in the mouth. After that, he didn't say a word and just left. He was fired after that. I followed him home, planning on explaining to him that I didn't mean to hurt him, and found him packing a small duffel bag. I didn't stop him because it was something we both needed. I tried reaching out to his former boss to at least let him keep his job, but I can't reach him anywhere. Am I the asshole for defending myself against that woman? I was being attacked, and they were going to find out eventually. We were already talking about leaving our partners before his future ex-wife made a scene in public. Update. I agree that was not the way to go about it, especially not in public, but I was driven by rage and frustration. My husband filed for divorce before I had the chance to. My lawyer says he got a job out of state and he's planning to move as soon as possible. That's why he wants this over with fast, so he can cut ties with everything and everyone from here. I think it's going to be a fast and easy divorce because there are no kids involved. Since we both agreed that I would be a housewife and live off his salary, I'm entitled to alimony until I remarry. I think the alimony is too little to maintain my lifestyle, but I'm not worried. My current partner can take care of me. The only problem is that I can't reach him, ever since that day his wife caused a scene. He doesn't answer my calls, the security doesn't allow me into his gated community, and even the security at his company doesn't want to let me in. Update. It's been a couple of months since my last update. My divorce has been finalized, and this is supposed to be the happiest day of my life, but I'm not. Instead, I'm filled with regret. After sacrificing my own marriage to be with him, after talking about building a future together, he tells me that he's not leaving his wife and kids for me. He tells me that marriage has ups and downs, and he's strayed. But he's working on things with his wife. When I asked him, what about my marriage, he said that I make that decision for myself. Now I'm all alone with nothing. I have to downgrade my lifestyle because the alimony's not enough for the lifestyle that I'm used to. I tried reaching out to my ex-husband and begged him to start over, but he wouldn't give me another chance. He says that I broke his trust and publicly humiliated him, and for that, he could never forgive me. He also said that he knew the only reason I wanted to fix things is because his boss wouldn't leave his wife. I know that he's hurting, but he doesn't have to be so mean about it. Story 2. 6 months ago, I confessed my 6-month-long EAPA to my husband. He was devastated. The last 6 months have been a nightmare for both of us. A month ago, he started pulling away. I thought he was going to divorce me. Last night, he told me he was going to date other women for a year. I told him I didn't want him to date other women, and that it would harm our chances of reconciling. He said it was non-negotiable. He was dating other women for a year and having sex with them, and told me he didn't care if I approved or not. He said I was free to date or have sex with anyone I want. I would never do that again because it would end our marriage and cause him great pain. I don't know what to do. I had a cake-eating affair. I never wanted to end my marriage. I love my husband. I want our marriage to survive. I can't give him an ultimatum because he'll just blow me off and date other women. Also, I would be a hypocrite for demanding his fidelity. What do I do? Has anyone else been in this situation? Your marriage is effectively at its end, but he's hesitant to be the one to officially end it because, in his view, you were the one who ruined it, not him. There's no way to salvage this situation, and you must recognize that. I hope those 6 months were worth the pain. On another note, you claim you never intended to terminate your marriage and that you love your husband. So why did you engage in infidelity? What was your genuine expectation for the outcome? I'm sincerely interested. Comments. I'm a betrayed husband. I understand his feelings of being emasculated, insecure, out of control, and desperate. Revenge affairs feel like a brilliant idea. It's important to remember he doesn't need to make big decisions when he's feeling anxious and unsafe. AffairRecovery.com and YouTube videos have been helpful in our personal healing. Linda McDonald's article is also helpful. Despite years of marriage counseling, didn't make progress until my WW stopped being defensive and putting herself first. You know what I see here is a comment thread full of fucking self-righteous hypocrites that want to dogpile someone. You people shit-talk WS because of something they've done, and then shit-talk them for the opposite. Every one of you know that a revenge affair will do nothing but add more wounds to the marriage that will add time to the repair process. This simple concept goes all the way back to the shit you were taught when you were kids. 2 wrongs don't make a right. It's that simple. For all of you that have jumped on the bandwagon to shame the OP and telling her to suck it up and this is what you get, you need to fuck off somewhere else besides here. You keep your comments positive and constructive. And if your comment doesn't fit either one of those, then keep it to your fucking self. Period. It ain't that hard to follow. Have a nice day. Maybe he just wants you to see how it feels. I'm not sure a lot of WS can ever understand how it feels. Maybe his way of explaining it to you. And I have to say that IMO, you do not get a say in that. He's giving you the same choice you gave him, except you put the both of you in that position, not him. He's only reacting to it. You want to make this work? Okay, maybe he's thinking, let her start from the same line she asked me to start from. Let her see just what she's asking of me. He might need to know that you're not asking him to do something you can't do yourself.